Greetings. My name is Stan Biner, and I am the principal of Fulton Academy of Science and Technology. My privilege in March of 2021 to present to you our State of the School address. We begin with our mission statement, which is always forefront on our minds. It is read at every board meeting, discussed at staff meetings, as a reminder of the foundation on which this school was created, which was to focus on an education that was centered on design thinking and problem solving, using a STEM approach and being done within a diverse community. This year marked the largest enrollment of our school since the beginning of FAST. There were 620 students enrolled at the start of the year, and we had a target of 580. Last year, our lottery was set at 660 students on the day of the drawing. This year, with 98 open seats available, we had 1,062 students apply. We attribute this to several things. One, an acknowledgement in the community of how FAST has approached the pandemic from the beginning. And two, because of the targeted marketing enrollment campaign that was done prior to the lottery. And three, because of word of mouth. Our school does reflect and continues to reflect a diverse population. It is diverse in terms of ethnicity and racial background, and also in terms of student abilities and socioeconomic groupings. One of the things we're most proud of is the growth of our partnerships within the community. We'd like to make a special notation of some of our new partnerships that have been created over the past year, beginning with Clark Atlanta University. Currently, we have a leadership development intern working with us, with the University of Georgia that has come on board as part of the Captain Planet grant, the Anti-Defamation League, which is the sponsor of the No Place to Hate School program, and Creating Positive Futures, which is an organization dedicated to the development of executive functioning skills for students. The school has also been supported in terms of funding for a number of different grants. Grateful for the Emerson Companies grant, which allowed us to redo an entire science lab, Captain Planet grant, many others that have been able to support our ongoing efforts, regular program, as well as support for the needs that we've had during the pandemic. One of the important components of our school is the use of map assessment. The MAP program is designed for us to be able to see how students are progressing, what their areas of strength are, and what their areas of weaknesses are, and to be able to detect any patterns that draw our attention to, so that we can continue to make sure that students are working to their potential. We continue to do MAP assessment during this remote learning environment, beginning with spring of 2020 and continuing through till the recent 2021 testing. While we recognize that there will be some variables that we cannot control when students are taking a test at home, because we do recognize that at some point there is some parent involvement, which leads us to have to take MAP assessment not as a final statement of where a student is, but a beginning point of where to look. Overall, our students continue to show growth in reading, language arts, and math. As you can see by these charts, the diamonds represent where the students should be in terms of grades. And for the most part, we have kept on track. It's just slight deviations in one or two grades, but not notable. The MAP program is also able to allow us to project how students would do on the milestone tests using an algorithm that is tied to the milestone program and the MAP assessment. Approximately the same numbers of students are projected to perform in the various levels. We're paying particular attention to the level 1 and level 2 students because of the nature of the pandemic and how it has impacted students in a different way. What we have noticed is that most grade levels have met or exceeded projected growth, and that we continue to fall into the same growth percentile as normal. It has remained unchanged for several years, and that is a good sign. Nevertheless, we have about 15% of our student body that has been identified as showing a decline in growth. And this deficit is something that we're currently addressing to make sure that we can have our students get back on track. In order to better serve our populations, we reorganized our special services from last year to this year by creating a director of special services and putting all of the various programs under one umbrella. This has led to significant changes in terms of effectiveness and parent satisfaction. One of the things that we have been moving towards is data-driven decision making. We draw our data from a number of sources, not just from MAP or Milestone, but also from summative work such as tests and quizzes, informative work, classwork, presentations, to get a full picture of where students are at. Whether they're overperforming, underperforming, they have learning gaps, any of the reasons, anything that marks a change in what the expected growth should be for that child is a reason to take a look. And the data that we receive allows us to create intervention programs and materials to make sure that students get back on track and continue to grow. One of the unique things that we've added this year and will be completed by the start of the next school year is our continuous improvement plan. And this is where we coordinate all of the gathering of data to ensure that our staff is able to use standards mastery and to be sure that they're able to reflect properly and give the most effective tools of intervention to those students or that are showing some deficiencies or a lack of progress as anticipated. This focus on CIP or continuous improvement program, we believe is going to make a huge difference in making sure that every child does reach their potential, which is why we are here in the first place. Make sure that every child grows and reaches their maximum potential. While this year has been unusual, there are other things that we have done that maintain a normative feel to the year as well. And that includes changes in the curriculum to reflect the changing needs of our school. We added a handwriting and spelling phonics program in K1, which has been very successful. Therefore, we will be adding it to grades 2 and 3 for the coming year. We expanded our social studies resources, redesigned our Genius Hour paradigm, added grade level themes to innovation, anti-bullying unit was purchased from Second Step. We added computer science and health as elementary school specials, added a component for executive function skill building, and Spanish is now a part of our program for 7th and 8th graders. If a student successfully completes 7th and 8th grade Spanish, they will be able to get a high school credit and continue into Spanish to 9th grade. Innovation was a focus this year in terms of being able to really make innovation as effective as possible. So on the screen, you can see that in each grade, there is a different emphasis. related in part to the needs where students are developmentally. So, for instance, in sixth and seventh grade, you see that the themes that they have are very much in line with the things that students are most concerned with at this point of their development. We also mapped out innovation skills that get incorporated into what is going on. So it's not just that we're talking about a particular topic, but we're also teaching students certain skills that will benefit them in a 21st century learning environment. In addition, we revisited Genius Hour. We hired a Genius Hour coach who revised the program and provided teachers with a multitude of resources in order for them to be able to focus on the goal of the program, which again is to allow students to explore their own interests, but also to provide them with certain skill building that they need in order to be successful when they leave our school. Because Genius Hour had to be suspended in spring 2020 and into the fall, we created a voluntary program in which 15% of our students chose to be part of Genius Hour. In February of 2021, we reinstituted Genius Hour for grades K through 7. We were very excited at the start of the year that we would be able to become full participants in the Fulton County Schools sports program. Our soccer teams had been formed, and we even had our coaches selected. Unfortunately, the pandemic prevented us from being able to participate, and in January, the program for middle school was canceled for the whole year. We look forward to 2021-22, where we will be able to participate and hope that we will be able to extend our undefeated record into a second year. Other things that we did during this year was try again to populate the calendar with activities that would mark a normalcy to the year. We added several new programs, including Hispanic Heritage Month, and we have at the end of the year Asian Pacific Islander Month as well. We had a Kindness Day, and we had an International Day of Peace. These were programs that engaged students on many different levels, both in the classroom, at home, and through photo contests and different activities that students could do at home and on their own. We had a parent university, which is very important to support parents at home. As the pandemic continued in the spring and fall of this year, we decided that we would have to create something that would support our parents at home, dealing with an environment that they didn't anticipate it to while they're trying to work as well. So the Parent University was created, and it still continues. One of the other highlights this year was Engineers in the Classroom, where 3 engineers from Lockheed Martin came and spoke to students in grades 3 through 8 about what it means to be an engineer. It was a very popular program and something we hope to continue in the future, as both students and teachers expressed a tremendous satisfaction in what they learned that day. The level of interest was high, which bodes well for a school that is a STEM certified school. Student Council continued to do good work through service projects, even when they were not in school. And now that they are, they're actively raising money for needed walkie-talkies, and also are engaged now in a recycling project. We have other projects we've added to our school to enhance our program and to build awareness, not just of what students need to do in terms of the core subjects, but also as human beings, and awareness of their responsibility to their fellow people. We have become partners in the Daffodil Project, which is a local charity whose goal is to plant 1.5 million daffodils in memory of children who perished in the Holocaust, and to support children suffering humanitarian crises throughout the world today. On the slide right now is our bed of daffodils that we planted in front of the building. And we also have daffodils that are in front of our flagpole as well. At the end of this month, we will do some programming to share with students some of the meaning behind the Daffodil Project and to build an awareness of their responsibility to help other people. Throughout the year, we've been working and building the Learning Garden, which is now fully operational. There are a multitude of beds which each class is responsible for, each grade. We have wildlife, Georgia wildlife growing in tires that have been set up as beds as well. The Project Learning Garden is being used not just by science, but also by innovation, in an attempt to engage students in hands-on learning throughout the curriculum and throughout the school. We also are candidate for the No Place for Hate program that is sponsored by the Anti-Defamation League. The most important component of the program is that this must be student-led. And we have a 7th and 8th grade student that are the chair people who organize a committee of about 12 students and 3 staff people. They are currently preparing 3 programs to implement in the month of April in order to qualify us to become fully recognized No Place for Hate, a No Place for Hate school. We've also re-engaged with PBIS and have earned the level of installing school. We would have been able to go to the next level. However, all activities were suspended in the spring of last year. We are hoping by the end of the month to have a visit from those representatives from the PBIS program to be able to move to the next level as well. PBIS helps us look holistically at behavior, student environment, and building a school where everyone feels safe. To support the unique challenges of this past year, as well as the typical challenges and things that teachers need, we continue to do professional development on a weekly basis throughout the year. This was particularly important as we moved towards a culture of data so that teachers could get together each month to look at student growth, data, and learn more about how to implement interventions. We were also able to accomplish several other goals that we had for ourselves, which people thought might not be possible, but we never felt that way. We were able to achieve our accreditation status, which we will have for 5 years. Originally planned for March, but canceled due to the closing down of the schools. We were able to do this program remotely. Parents, students, faculty, and board members all participated by meeting with the team members that were visiting us remotely from all over the state. The school earned a 5-year accreditation status, which is the highest level that we can be at. Concurrently, we also moved ahead with STEM certification. And we are now also fully certified for 5 years as well. We had a wonderful experience with the visiting teams. They provided us with many commendations as well as some recommendations for us to continue to improve our program, which is what being in a school is all about. We were also recognized by the Canopy Project, which looks for schools of innovation throughout the country and highlights them on their website, encouraging other schools to see what a school of innovation looks like. Moving forward as well, we are almost at the end of the state charter renewal. In a few days, we will probably be meeting in front of the Department of Education for that charter renewal status that we've been seeking. It will give us another 5 years. We have already been recommended for charter renewal by Fulton County for 5 years and look to have an announcement by the end of March. Throughout the process of certification and accreditation and charter renewal, we have been receiving information, suggestions, ideas that we should implement, and we have added those to our plan of action. We have a plan of action that sets forth a variety of initiatives and goals that we have for ourselves through 2023. Our staff meets periodically to review where we are, to update, decide when we're going to kick off a new initiative or a new plan of action, as they've all been scheduled, and to review the progress that we're making on each one that's already actively been engaged with. By having this plan of action, we can ensure that nothing will fall between the cracks and everything we set out to do will be accomplished. Of course, clouding over us this past year was COVID-19. Schools closed in March of 2020. And with that change, the entire program structure and curriculum of schools had to be adapted to a new reality. FAST began the 2020-21 year on a remote platform. We had to hire additional staff. We turned some of those staff into interventionists to assist students that were struggling in a remote environment. We would tape classes for parents and students, particularly the younger children who had to wait till their parents got home to be able to help them. We used Zoom as our communication platform, and we continue to do so. We provided teachers with professional accounts to have full access to everything Zoom could provide for us. As mentioned before, we also focused professional development on online learning. We redesigned our day. Middle school had 30-minute blocks of set time, and elementary school had a schedule by grade level, which was a balance of live instruction and asynchronous learning. We also created the Parent University, as mentioned before, and developed a program for executive functioning skills. We also tried to maintain the norm in different ways. We created Move Fast, which allowed students to continue to participate in PE, art, and music. We did our map testing continued. We provided optional Genius Hour, as mentioned, continued assemblies, and facilitated photo contests that celebrated the school calendar. All because it was important that not just for kids in a new environment, but if we could create some norm, we could put the fun into learning as well, that students would be more excited and more willing to engage. In January of 2021, FAST moved to a hybrid model in which we would have students learning at home, continue learning at home, and students coming face to face. In January, we opened with 35% of our students coming back face to face, while the majority of students remained remote. In March, our window opened again, and about 7% more students came face to face. But again, our hybrid model still has the majority of our students learning online, and we have to keep this in mind as we work forward. Asynchronous Wednesday became a part of our program. It's a day in which we're able to catch students up, have separate and individual meetings with students, do group interventions, do staff planning. We also added Think Fast, which are electives for kids that are very popular, sometimes having as many as 40 students in a class. All classes still begin with a morning meeting so that we can keep all the kids together. And there are some classes that take place on Wednesdays, such as computer science and health. And our remote learners have their innovation classes on Wednesdays. So as you can see, we have continued to operate and fully function as a school. We continue to do through to the end of this year on a hybrid model. In addition to the academic planning we had to do to adjust to the pandemic, we also had to change many of the ways we approached the health issues that would be involved and engaged. Therefore, we had to create a sealed isolation room for the clinic, purchase many more supplies, PPE. We laid out socially distant classrooms, closed off the water faucets, um, added faucets that would be able to dispense water for water bottles, added soap dispensers, automatic soap dispensers, in order to be able to provide the healthiest and safest environment possible. We purchased electrostatic sprayers to clean surfaces and to coat them. We purchased screens so that every student would be able to work behind a screen and keep them as protected as possible. And we installed our filtration systems in order to remove contaminants from the air. These have been placed in every single classroom in the building. While all this was going on, again, we were still continuing to improve our facilities. We added 2 portable units in the back of our building and a paver walkway to get there. In one of the trailer units, we have our staff lounge, which is a much needed addition to our school because oftentimes, due to the size and configuration of our program, there would be no place for teachers to go when they had a period off for planning. Now they do. We also added a learning lab, which our special service department acts out of, and that is used for early intervention and intervention for students in small groups. There is now a new science lab provided by the Emerson Company. We have flexible seating, as you can see to the right, which has been particularly useful in this particular environment, as well as the teaching garden already mentioned. Regarding our financial situation, we're proud to say that FAST is in good hands. We are stable financially and have been able to build up that 3-month reserve that is critical for the financial standing of any school. We also could not do what we did without the support of our parents. Our PTO is extraordinary, constantly providing us and asking us for whatever we need in order to be sure that everyone has the supplies they need, as well as the social emotional support they need as well. Students provided notes to teachers, thanking them for the work they were doing. Snacks continued to be provided, gifts. PTO provided grants for the teachers to purchase items. They also provided us money to buy webcams for our teachers, many other things that were done to help support our school during this really trying time. Nothing means more to staff than knowing that the hard work they're doing is appreciated, and PTO has come through in flying colors. We are so proud of the partnership we have with the PTO and all the good work they do. And if you're not a member of the PTO, we encourage you to join because your dollars go to the good work that needs to be done, the extra support that is so appreciated by our school. Behind the scenes, or often behind the scenes, is our governing board. These people give selflessly of themselves as volunteers, take on the responsibility of ensuring that the school has the resources it needs and is guided and supported through the ups and downs, particularly of this past year. Some of the highlights for the board this year is the creation of a digital training manual for new members. They continue to be trained, which is an ongoing obligation, is to continue to do training throughout each year. They have worked tirelessly on the state charter renewal process and have expanded the board to add 2 new members. We are grateful for the work that the governing board does to support us. At the end of this slideshow, we've added some videos that share some of the fun things that we've been doing over the school year and what makes Best so unique and different. This has been quite a year for our school, but in the end, we have survived it with flying colors, and we are looking forward to next year, 2021-22, being better than ever. Thank you, and this concludes our State of the School address.